Welcome back to Beyond the Scarlet Moon, where the restless never sleep and the damned never truly die. Tonight, I invite you to step into the darkness, to meet something unnatural, a force of chaos, a beast without mercy, a man whose soul was so twisted, so diseased, that even hell itself spit him back out. Once, they called him Ryan Kuhn. But after what he did, after what he became, that name no longer belongs to him. Now, he is the Jackal. And if you ever hear the sound of metal scraping in the dark, if you ever feel claws reaching for you from the shadows, it's already too late. If you love horror, the paranormal, and the chilling whispers of the dead, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Now step carefully, and whatever you do, don't get too close to the cage. Born in darkness, raised in blood, he was born in 1887, a bastard child to a woman who barely knew his name, a prostitute who saw him as nothing more than an unfortunate consequence of her trade. And Ryan? He hated her for it. She was never a mother to him, never even human in his eyes, just another thing, a weak, desperate creature to be used. Maybe his mind was already cracked from the start. Maybe it was the streets that made him into a monster. Or maybe Ryan was never meant to be anything but a monster. By the time he was a man, his urges had become a need. Not for love, not for pleasure, but for control, for fear, for power. He had a preference. He liked them alone. Vulnerable. Women who walked home at night, their footsteps soft against the cobblestones, unaware they were being watched. His breath would quicken. His pulse would race. He would wait until they were just steps from safety, and then he struck. They never stood a chance.
Please, please don't do this.
They'd scream. Some fought. Some begged. And some just wept, knowing it wouldn't matter. When he was done with them, he made sure they never told their story. One woman, then another, and another. The city whispered of a predator lurking in the alleys. Women clutched their coats tighter, walked faster, never strayed too far from the gaslights. But it didn't matter, because he was faster, because he was the dark, because he was the Jackal. And still, he knew he was a monster. Maybe that's why one day, in an act that no one understood, he walked into Bournewood Asylum and committed himself. Was it guilt? A game? A way to feel power over even the doctors who sought to cure him? No one knew, but Bournewood was not salvation. It was a prison, a hell, and within its walls, monsters were made. At first, Ryan played the part of a remorseful man seeking redemption.
I don't want to be this way.
He'd say, his voice smooth, his smile disarming. And the doctors? They believed him. But at night, in the dark, he watched. He memorized the scent of the nurse's perfume, the way their fingers trembled as they handed him his medicine. He imagined what it would feel like to tear their throats out. And then, one night, one unlucky nurse stepped too close. She never walked out. The orderlies found her twisted body in the corner of Ryan's cell, her throat shredded, her eyes wide and empty. And Ryan? He was sitting in the middle of the room, laughing. That was it. No more kindness. No more prayers. No more treatment. Ryan Kuhn was declared criminally insane. Beyond saving. Beyond human. They bound him into a straitjacket so tight his bones cracked beneath the pressure. He would shriek, thrashing, writhing, fighting until his arms twisted, until his fingers curled into claws. Every time he lashed out, they tightened it more. Again, and again, and again, until his body deformed, until the pain became so unbearable. He could no longer sleep, no longer think. And when he realized the jacket would never come off, he bit into it. He ripped at it with his teeth, gnawed until his gums bled, until his mouth was torn open at the corners. That was when the doctors made their final decision. The straitjacket wasn't enough. They needed something stronger, something permanent. So they built him a cage. A rusted iron muzzle, bolted into place around his head. The moment they locked it, Ryan screamed so loud the entire asylum heard it. But it didn't matter. Because from that moment on, Ryan Kuhn no longer existed. Now, he was just an animal, locked in the basement, in total darkness, thrashing and shrieking like something born of nightmares. And then, one night, the fire came. The patients screamed. The doctors ran. But Ryan? Ryan stayed. He stood in his cell, watching the flames creep toward him, and he laughed. Because he knew something the others didn't. Death wasn't the end, and when the fire consumed him, his soul remained. The Jackal was unleashed. Years have passed, and then Cyrus Criticos came looking. He wanted the worst, the most damned, the irredeemable, and deep in the ruins of the asylum, he found the Jackal. Now, he prowls the halls of the Criticos mansion, a jagged, twisted figure, his head jerking unnaturally, his cage rattling as he screeches like a rabid beast. And if you see him, if you hear the scraping of metal on stone, it's already too late, because the Jackal does not haunt. He hunts. Some spirits are bound by chains, others by fire. But the Jackal? He is bound by nothing. Thank you for watching Beyond the Scarlet Moon. If you love horror and the whispers of the dead, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, don't look back.